Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, macro-level shift in North Korea's grand strategy. For years, the basic assumption was that Pyongyang was ultimately just trying to squeeze out concessions and sanctions relief from the United States. But looking at the hard data from the latter half of 2026, it's becoming incredibly clear that this is no longer the case. Actually, scratch that. It's completely off the table. Instead, North Korea is aggressively building a multi-layered security and economic model that literally doesn't rely on the West at all. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The immediate flashpoint. 2. Allied drills and tensions. 3. The deepening partnership with Russia. 4. The expanding nuclear arsenal. And 5. This brand new strategic resilience. Before we get into the timeline, I really want you to keep this one core question in the back of your mind as we go through the evidence. Is Pyongyang permanently changing its ultimate endgame? Are we witnessing the death of their traditional negotiation playbook? Let's get right into the facts on the ground. Section 1. The immediate flashpoint. The August missile launches. Okay, let's dive into this. A sudden flurry of missile activity in August 2026 really brought this whole situation to a boiling point. On August 6th, North Korea launched a short-range ballistic missile, which actually South Korean officials suspect might have failed. But then, on August 11th, we saw a successful launch right from the Wonsan area. This missile flew more than 700 kilometers, splashing down between the Korean peninsula and Japan. And what makes this so significant is that it was the 11th suspected ballistic missile test of the year, striking just days before a major Allied military exercise kicked off. Section 2. Allied drills and tensions. Ulchi Freedom Shield 2016. So, those August missile launches, they're widely understood as Pyongyang throwing a direct, highly visible protest against these combined maneuvers, the Ulchi Freedom Shield, or UFS. Running from August 17th to the 27th, UFS involves roughly 18,000 South Korean troops. But notice exactly what they're training for here: countering drones, GPS disruption, and cyber attacks. The US and South Korean militaries are explicitly integrating lessons pulled directly from the modern battlefield in Ukraine. Now, the Allies maintain this is purely defensive, right? But North Korea routinely denounces UFS as a dress rehearsal for a full-scale invasion. Section 3. Deepening partnership with Russia, the geopolitical enabler. Now, North Korea's confidence in launching these protests isn't just happening in a vacuum. Just look at this staggering number: 33,000. According to South Korean military intelligence estimates from earlier this year, North Korea has shipped approximately 33,000 containers of military supplies to Russia. To put that into perspective, that could equate to over 15 million artillery shells, specifically the 152mm rounds, alongside multiple launch rocket systems. I mean, we're talking about a massive logistical operation that fundamentally alters the reality on the battlefield in Ukraine. And, well, there's a huge economic flip side to all that military support. Arming Russia has reportedly netted North Korea a $22 billion windfall. This massive influx of capital is so significant, it actually helped fuel an estimated 3.5% economic growth rate for North Korea in 2025. That marks their third consecutive year of expansion over 3%. So instead of the severe economic contraction we saw during the pandemic, the North Korean economy is adapting and growing, largely thanks to Moscow. And this alliance, it's absolutely not just transactional anymore. It is literally being etched in stone. A newly completed Battle Merit Memorial was inaugurated in Pyongyang in April 2026, right in the presence of Kim Jong-un and high-ranking Russian officials. This facility was built specifically to commemorate North Korean soldiers who were killed in action while deployed to the Kursk region in Russia. State media is actively using these fallen soldiers for ideological indoctrination, basically hailing them as heroes to sustain this national atmosphere of intense loyalty. Which leads us to one of the most intense yet totally unverified claims currently circulating out there. Over the summer, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed that Russia is preparing to receive anywhere from 30,000 to up to 50,000 additional North Korean troops. Now, we have to be very precise here. South Korean intelligence authorities have explicitly stated they're monitoring the situation closely, but as of late July, they had absolutely not confirmed these massive new deployment numbers. So it remains an unverified claim, but it's one that perfectly highlights the immense international anxiety surrounding this partnership. Because beyond just troops and artillery, the Russia partnership is rapidly evolving into a long-term technology exchange. Russian officials have actually talked about signing a 2027 to 2031 cooperation plan, and it's highly probable that this technological support is aimed directly at helping Kim Jong-un achieve the 5 strategic military priorities he outlined at the Party Congress. We're talking integrated ICBM systems, AI-based unmanned attack drones, specialized satellite attack weapons, and advanced electronic warfare. Russia is essentially acting as a fast-track cheat code for North Korean military modernization.
Section 4. Expanding the nuclear arsenal. Doubling weapons-grade capacity.
So, the crucial point is, as alarming as those conventional and technological upgrades are, we have to look at the most serious long-term development happening right now. In June of 2026, Kim Jong-un conducted a highly publicized inspection of a newly commissioned uranium-enrichment facility. And during that visit, he confirmed that the country's capacity to produce weapons-grade nuclear material had more than doubled over the previous 5 years. And he didn't stop there. He openly ordered officials to continue aggressively scaling up production. They aren't trying to hide this anymore, folks. They are putting it on full display. Naturally, the international community is watching this with deep apprehension. As this quote from Rafael Mariano Grossi, the Director General of the IAEA, highlights, continued operation of enrichment facilities at Yongbyon and Kangsan is a matter of serious concern. The IAEA has also observed clear indications that the 5-megawatt reactor at Yongbyon continues to operate, which is absolutely vital because its spent fuel can be reprocessed into plutonium for weapons. North Korea is actively and forcefully rejecting any notion of denuclearization. They are treating their nuclear program as a permanent, completely non-negotiable fixture. Section 5. A new strategic resilience, moving beyond sanctions relief. When we pull all these threads together, the missile tests, the booming Russian partnership, the unapologetic nuclear expansion, we're witnessing the birth of a totally new strategic resilience in Pyongyang. Let's just contrast the old playbook with this new reality. Think back to the Trump-Kim summits in 2019, right? Back then, North Korea's strategy heavily relied on diplomacy with Washington and Seoul. They were desperately seeking sanctions relief just to keep their heads above water. Today, that old strategy is entirely gone. They now rely on deep military and economic ties with Russia and China, robust domestic adaptation, and the unapologetic, permanent expansion of their nuclear capabilities. They just don't feel the pressure to make concessions to the West anymore. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what Pyongyang has constructed. It's essentially a 4-layered shield. Layer 1, expanding their nuclear deterrence to guarantee regime survival. Layer 2, continuous missile development to pressure regional neighbors and test new delivery methods. Layer 3, a truly transformative military and technological partnership with Russia. And Layer 4, deepening economic connectivity with China, which maintains a vital trade lifeline. It's a comprehensive, self-reinforcing, macro-level architecture. So what does this all mean? It leaves us with this final, absolutely vital question to consider. If North Korea is no longer interested in trading away its weapons for economic relief, is the international community actually prepared for a self-reliant, fully nuclear North Korea? Because as the data from 2026 clearly shows us, the old diplomatic toolkit we've relied on for decades might just be entirely obsolete in the face of this new strategic reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning what you see on the geopolitical horizon.